Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for this invitation to join you today. Your interest and commitment to an educated vote is appreciated. I'm the mayor for the city of Edinburgh. I have been for 11 years. I'm a retired state judge who served on the bench for nearly 17 years. I've served my country, my community as a county judge. I'm a veteran. I served as municipal judge. I'm a federal practitioner, done so for 44 years, serving in or practicing in federal courts throughout the country. I was born and raised in Edinburgh, Texas. I'm a veteran of the U.S. Army, graduated from Pan American University with a degree in business administration and management, a law degree from Texas Southern University. I worked full-time while I was in school, paid my way through school with a little help from the GI Bill. I'm a husband, a father of 5, a grandfather of 4. I believe in God and country. During my tenure as mayor, city facilities have been upgraded. We've invested in public works and public safety. That's increased. Unemployment has been cut in half. Sales tax revenue has increased by 250%. And most important to you as your group is that Edinburgh has permitted over $230 million in construction in 2016, plus $150 million of institutional construction, university, et cetera. We are on track to surpass these numbers. I believe that Edinburgh is #1 for investment, education, and quality of life in our city. It takes vision, leadership, tenacity, experience, and a superior team to come to where we are. This doesn't happen by accident. Unprecedented growth does not happen by accident. It has the finest employees within the city. I thank them for that. The city's been highlighted as one of the top 5 for economic growth, and we received state recognition for financial management and fiscal responsibility. I just got my stop, so I'm going to do that. A few other words I wanted to tell you that we're not drowning in debt. We're doing fabulously well. I'll tell you more about that shortly. Not a concern. I think what we have to deal with in our city is growth. We have unprecedented growth. The way we're dealing with it is by increasing revenue. We create new jobs. We bring new investment to the table. We don't reinvest the wheel. We are now doing P3 partnerships. That is the new way in the United States for large investment in our city. Economics 101 is when you have budgetary problems because of growth, you don't cut expenses. What you do is you increase revenue. That is a good problem to have, and that's the way we're going to deal with it in the future. We have some of the highest paid employees in the city in this county. School district, everyone compares to other cities. People that are with police department in other cities want to come to Edinburgh because we're the highest paid. Over the period of time that I've been there, we've increased all the first responders, firefighters, police department. We brought an in-house engineer, accountants. We have the best of the best in the city of Edinburgh, and they wouldn't be there and they would leave if they weren't getting paid the right kind of wages. The city is continuing to grow. I know what's important to you fellas is the impact fees that are in the county. We're the only city that does not have anything other than parkland fees. A lot of the other cities, you know, have impact fees for streets, for sewage. And we are now recognized for our exemplary management in our money. We budget accordingly, and our credit rating has been raised to a AA-, which is one of the highest credit ratings in the nation. We're proud of that, and the reason is that we're being financially responsible and growing at a fast pace. Thank you. You said the magic word, funding only for the medical school. I stood tall for Proposition 1. I'll stand tall again. I didn't like the way it was worded. I didn't like the end result. We have a medical school here. We are very fortunate to have that. We're the only place that has a medical school that does not have a hospital district. And the situation is that the PUF funds from the university system, public utility funds, can only be used for brick and mortar. You have to sustain for operations. We know that Austin, the legislature, has cut back funding for education, a crying shame, but that can affect our medical school. We don't want to lose it. We lost a law school here in the city of Edinburgh. Reynaldo Garza School of Law was here. Some of you may remember. It went to Texas Wesleyan in Fort Worth because it was not supported, and it is now the Texas A&M School of Law. We lost that. We don't want to lose a medical school. The medical school is going to transform our area. 25 years ago, when San Antonio got their medical school, their population and their demographics were the same as Hidalgo County. Today, they are number 5 in the nation in size. They are number 2 in the state in size. That's not because of the Spurs. That's not because of Six Flags. That's because of medical investment. That is the biggest business. Education and medical is the biggest business in the United States today, and that's what we can look forward to happening in this town, in this county, which is going to help all of you for building new homes and new projects in our city. I'm not real sure who submitted that question or where those numbers come from, but we have a balanced budget at the EDC. The EDC is the best thing that happened in Edinburgh. That is exactly why we're growing the way that we are. Our income is exactly what you said, and as a matter of fact, in the city, we have a reserve of 35% instead of the 25 recommended amount. At the EDC, our reserve, listen to this, 80%, 4.7 million. That's in reserve. That's just sitting there. Are we overspending? No, sir, not at all. We're spending what we need to grow new businesses, to partner up, and we will continue to do so. The university provides guidance to us. We contract with the business department to give us projections for the future, and we act accordingly. The projections you might be interested to know is that Edinburgh's growth, by what's happening with the EDC today, is expected to, the population within 5 years will overtake the population of McAllen. We have 18 miles on the expressway to grow. McAllen has 2, Mission has 2, FAR has 2. The projection also is that the population within 15 years will be equally divided north and south of 107, which runs right through the middle of the city. We've got a big job to do. This isn't on-the-job training. You need experience, you need leadership, and you need financial and economic backgrounds. It will be funded through the TERS. The way we're funding all the large projects, this is what's happening nationwide. As I said, we don't reinvent the wheel. When I saw that Cabela's had been built in the small town of Buda, south of Austin, I went there and I said, how in the world did they do this? How did this small community do this? It's a tax increment reinvestment zone. On the new businesses that come in, you set aside funds from that. It doesn't come from the general fund. It doesn't come from the taxpayers. It comes from new income. That's the way it's going to be funded. That's the way it's going to be financed. That's the way we funded the arena. Not one taxpayer dollar. All of it is coming in from the new businesses. As an example, the new Walmart out on I-69, a couple of other businesses, their new income coming to the city, it funds these things. That's the way these operations work. That's a smart thing to do. That's what they're doing in Los Angeles, in Denver, in Philadelphia, in Dallas, all over these United States, because that's what makes sense. Thank you. First of all, a bit of confusion. The Toros is at the soccer stadium. The soccer stadium was built completely and paid for completely by a private developer. We pay not 1 cent for that, so that's not our problem. Matter of fact, it's a great thing for our city. The economic impact is amazing. And as far as tax rate has not increased the whole time that I've been there. I understand that it hadn't been increased in something like 20 years. Whether it's going to be reduced, I'm dealing with growth. I can come up here and try to give you a political statement about reducing 1 penny for you per 100, or I can come and work for you and continue to grow your city, continue to do the type of projects that we're doing so that the projections given to us by the university will come through for you so that you can have more land to develop, more houses to build, more apartments to build, and we keep your impact fees at a minimum. As I mentioned to you before, I think the only impact fee in the city of Edinburgh is parkland fees, and we do have some what are called tap fees, and that you know very much about. But Am I making any campaign promises for a job, for tax reduction, that sort of thing? No, I'm making a promise that I'm going to continue to serve you the way that I have and continue to build your city for you, grow your city for you the way that it has been. We have been addressing drainage for quite a while. We, about 3 years ago, hired a group to do a drainage plan for the city of Edinburgh. The county did the same. If you read the newspapers, you'll know that we're about to get a $20 million investment for drainage that will take care of all the downtown Edinburgh area and surrounding areas. We have had problems forever. Othelbrand Sr. used to say Edinburgh was a swamp, and that's where they drained their water. So that's not far-fetched. We're lower than McAllen, and we've had to deal with those issues. Just recently, we dealt with another issue. We got a FEMA grant for a subdivision that's on the north side of Edinburgh for $6 million, which is going to solve the drainage in that particular. It's out by the IDEA School. We're dealing with drainage daily. We're getting it taken care of. There's just a new drain that was put in by Precinct 4 that will solve. There's different areas of the city. That was in Fayetteville. Drainage is being addressed. It's going to be taken care of, and I can promise you that. A novel approach that flies in the face of every mayor in this valley. We were invited recently to sit with Governor Abbott in Austin. He had a bill proposing to do exactly that, to limit what cities can do on expenditures, on percentage of expenditures by cities. That bill, we were all up there together in unison, locked elbows. The mayors of, this was bipartisan, mayor from Mission, who's a Republican. We had mayors that were Democrats, and we were in unison against that proposition. It failed miserably in Austin. So I hope that answers your question for you.
Stay there. Last question. What is your position on cities investing in private industry and developments, which is among a growing trend that could prove troublesome to municipalities?
If municipalities' tax money was involved, it could prove troublesome. But if you will look at the nationwide trend, I just appeared in Los Angeles recently on a P3 symposium. That's exactly what you're talking about, is public-private partnerships. Governor Eric Garcetti spoke to us about what they're doing in Los Angeles. They have the same issues that we do. They want to grow. They have transportation issues. They have parking issues. And we deal with them in the very same way. You increase revenue. The way you increase revenue is by having private investors coming so you don't have to wait, so you don't have to do what we just heard, little by little. At home, it's as simple as your own house. You need a car to get to work. You need a car to take your kids to school. And if you wait until you save up the money so you can afford to pay all $30 or $40 or $20,000 for that car, you're going to fail as a family. You go and borrow the money, and you borrow the amount that you can afford to pay for. That's the way Economics 101 at home works. That's the way it works with our city, and that's the way I'm going to continue to work us. Wish I could work 9 to 5. I'm 70, and I put in 12-hour days every day, and I ask for your support to reelect me as mayor. Edinburgh's continued growth and prosperity depends on a council with sound financial understanding, clear understanding of the law, obvious respect for the people it represents, and that respect is demonstrated first and foremost by speaking the truth, by speaking numbers, by speaking accurately. Misleading the voters, investors, or regional partners, intentional or not, is worrisome at the very least. Look around Edinburgh. What do you see? You see growth. It's everywhere. You can quantify. You can measure. It's not a campaign promise or give me a shot at this. The proof is in the record of my service, and I humbly ask for your continued support. You all have a beautiful day. Thank you very much for this opportunity.